The human brain is a complex organ which governs a repertoire of dynamic functions that regulate the body as well as cognition. Intelligence is widely recognized as a very general mental capability that involves the ability to reason, plan, solve problems, think abstractly, and comprehend complex ideas. Modern intelligence research was founded in the early 20th century by Charles Spearman, who tested individual variation in cognitive abilities. Spearman's two-factor model concluded that performance in cognitive tests was determined by a specific factor that is unique to each test and a common component known as general intelligence. Nowadays, G is used interchangeably with the intelligence quotient and represents a measure of an individual's reasoning, processing speed, executive function, memory, and spatial ability. Whilst these cognitive domains appear to be independent, evidently, people who perform well in one domain often perform well in others. Neuroscientific research is interested in understanding how G emerges from individual differences in the structural integrity of the brain. General intelligence is a strong indicator of educational success, a well-remunerated occupation, positive social mobility, and is important in everyday decision-making. Studies indicate that a higher IQ during childhood and early adulthood is correlated with better health later in life. The longitudinal study, Batty et al. Suggests this is because a higher IQ leads to positive health behaviors, such as reduced smoking rates, increased physical activity, a healthy diet, seatbelt use, and overall improved disease prevention. Intelligence may even reduce the risk of early mortality by 32% from causes such as accidents, coronary heart disease, and suicides. This highlights the importance of optimizing intelligence for the successful management of health, especially for marginalized populations, including Indigenous Australians, who experience significant educational disadvantage and poorer health status. This may be achieved via school readiness programs in early childhood, which studies have shown may result in IQ improvements that extend well into high school. Traditional studies have largely focused on understanding the link between intelligence and the size of an individual's head. Head size is considered to be a less reliable measure as it is affected by external factors such as hair mass and skull thickness. Recent studies have utilized more advanced scanning technologies, such as fMRI, to measure intracranial volume. The meta-analysis, Gignac and Bates, reveals that the majority of studies examined reflected statistically significant results and an overall positive correlation of 0.4 between brain volume and IQ. Some theories suggest more complex circuitry, dendritic expansions, more synapses, and myelin thickness may be responsible. However, further research is required to determine the direction of causation of these findings.
Notably, Menn et al. Determined the preserved brain of Albert Einstein to be 10% less than the mean brain weight of a young control group, although results are very similar to an elderly control group, considering his age at death.
A key finding of this study was that Einstein's corpus callosum was thicker in most regions when compared with both control groups, contributing to coordinated communication between the cerebral hemispheres.
Nevertheless, a widely accepted theory is that intelligence is the product of an entire network rather than specific to a single brain region. The interaction between four brain structures, including the cortex, basal ganglia, basal forebrain, and thalamus, enable higher executive and communicative functions, including language and vocal learning. Similarly, the frontoparietal and cingulo-opercular networks assist with adaptive reasoning in response to environmental changes, known as fluid intelligence.
The term small world networks has been used to describe increased connectivity between neurons for a streamlined transmission of information linked to intelligence. These networks are comprised of short-distance connections which minimize wiring cost and local clustering, and long-distance connections which provide more direct transmission paths and improved global information processing. This is supported by evidence that intelligent people react to visual and auditory stimuli quicker than less intelligent people. Recent advancements in scanning technologies, including the EEG, PET, RCBF analysis, and fMRI, have provided more accurate quantitative data that has largely supported existing theories. Functional neuroimaging has proven intelligent brains process information more efficiently by accessing fewer brain resources when completing adequately challenging cognitive tasks. Heyer et al. Involved subjects playing Tetris as a measure of matrix reasoning and mental rotation. The study utilized PET scans and determined that subjects with the highest IQ experienced the largest decline in metabolic activity as a result of practice.
Intelligence is linked with neurobiological features, including brain volume and small world networks that allow for the efficient transmission of information in the brain, although further research is required to entirely understand the brain structures from which intelligence emerges.